Ford could literally go out of business. Quality is job none. With the stocks dropping 21%, as well as the back end of 2024 promises to be an uphill battle for many manufacturers, including Ford. While EV sales for Ford are actually climbing, unfortunately, the sale of each and every one of these electric vehicles, like the Ford F-150 Lightning, as we notice right here, is a Lariat version, or the Mustang Mach-E, has been showing Ford lose money on the sale of every one of these vehicles. And Ford sales have been declining year over year on a lot of their full-size trucks, like this brand new, fully deckled, rebadged, brand new generation model of the F-150, like we're looking at right here. Clearly we have a Lariat, and as well, here we are F-150, and it's going for $89,920. Clearly not an affordable vehicle. And sales like the Ford Ranger here have been doing extremely poorly. While it represents an option to get into a truck that is slightly smaller than the full size, most people can't justify spending 80–90% for a pint-sized pickup truck when they believe, if I'm gonna spend it, I'm gonna go all in with a full size. But more headwinds for Ford promises to be finding with issues of a lot of these late model vehicles, or any other model specifically older than 2021, because Ford's CFO, Chief Financial Officer, John Lawler, promises that they're putting tons of money aside to fix all of the outstanding recalls, problems that keep popping up, that they're learning about each and every day. When National Highway Transportation Safety Administration gets a hold of it, they have to deal with these issues and deal with them promptly, because they're safety challenges. One of the latest issues that plagues the small Bronco, the Bronco Sport, or even the Ford Escape has to do with the cracked injectors on their 1.5-liter engine, and there are a lot of vehicles with those troubles. Also, sales on some of their very unique models, like the Ford Bronco Raptor, like we're seeing right here. As you'll notice, they have the great decals right there, and of course some great running gear, beautiful flares. It's a beautiful vehicle, but they're not selling. Many models are not selling very well, and to make matters worse, in the cost of living crisis, we're already seeing the new MSRP for the new 2025s are getting jacked up on many models. Even this quote-unquote affordable vehicle, what we're talking about, the Ford Maverick, was supposed to be the affordable pickup truck, the option for those that couldn't pay for a full-size truck like the F-150, or even one of these Ford Rangers like we're looking at right here. These even are going up in price. Now let's take a look at how much a new Ranger costs. Well, here we have a Ranger. This one has a 2.3-liter EcoBoost engine. It does come with the 10-speed automatic transmission, and unfortunately, $59,655. 60 grand for Ford Ranger. It's no wonder they're not selling. And the worst part is their affordable vehicle like the Maverick, this pint-sized pickup truck, is going up in price too for 2025. And you want to do a little bit of heavy towing for yourself personally? Yeah, you want to get yourself a Super Duty pickup truck. This is absolutely beautiful. We have a Super Duty right here, the new decal right there. Of course, new headlights. I love these wheels. Not sure where they came from, but look, you get the big foldaway, you get some nice glossy finishing on here. Handles that are painted, of course, your security access in. This is actually a very, very nice truck, an FX4 off-road. And if we look around, you can tow a lot of weight with this. You've already got a spray and liner as well as the rear slider on there. Love the new finishing on here. And as well, you even get extra step guards. But how much is this vehicle? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Here is a brand new, this is a 2024 F-350 4x4 crew cab. And wow. Holy, $116,719. That is on a new unfounded level. And that's not even the dually. So with the prices of all these vehicles, Fords are constantly escalating, MSRPs are rising for 2025, it becomes much clearer that the OEMs of all these major manufacturers are disconnected from the reality of the cost of living crisis that a lot of people are buried in. They can't afford to eat, they can't afford to sleep, and now they definitely can't afford to drive with the high prices we're seeing a lot of these vehicles. $100,000 for a pickup truck? Absolutely obscene. And the net income seems to be dropping year over year for Ford. $1.87 billion in the second quarter of this year compared to about $1.92 billion the year before. And we're seeing this downward trend year over year because people can't afford these. On the other hand, a lot of their electric vehicles are outpacing a lot of the vehicles in their space, and they're outselling, and they're putting some sales records down on their EVs. The F-150 Lightning is one of the best-selling electric vehicle full-size pickup trucks, and as well as the Mustang Mach-E Mach-E is only second to the Tesla Model Y. And yet, what's the problem? The problem is Ford hasn't found a way to make the sales and manufacturing of EVs profitable. And as a result, they're losing money on the sale of all of their electric vehicles. To make matters worse, the expected share prices were expected to sell for trade hands for 68 cents per, and now, unfortunately, we're actually seeing a number closer to 47 cents. Clearly an indicator that it's an underperforming share, partially because the future seems to be a little bit more unknown. And while most would consider an increase of 61% market share or increase in sales to a particular model like we're looking at right here, the F-150 Lightning or the Mustang Mach-E would actually be triumphant and a win by most people's calculation and most people's measures. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because as you see by this grille, this is the EVs. And the EVs for Ford have lost $1.14 billion just in Q2 alone. And full-size trucks like this seem to be much less the desired appetite. Obviously, we have a Ford F-150 Raptor, and this is the R version. So clearly stepped up, hot rodded, and certainly top pop for the F-150 brand. We're not talking about Shelby. This is the Ford brand specifically. Now, while it looks great, and a lot of people love these vehicles, let's take a quick look. You get the military style wheels. I definitely like the looks of that. Hard flares. Of course, lots of plastics. Definitely you get this. Lots of goodness on this Raptor R, as you'll see with the R there. This is a beautiful looking truck. Even with the aggressive step boards, you get painted handles. I definitely love the looks. You get a rear slider. There's a lot of great amenities here, but the F-150 Raptor R is going for $153,750. Clearly, cut that down by 80%, that's more like what I can afford. This is way outside my level. But with losing money on the EV market, what about the Blue Oval? Well, the Blue Oval is the standard garden variety pickup trucks like this, and they're still making money, although on a year-over-year decline, they're starting to see the trends. The writing on the wall. People can't afford these expensive new pickup trucks. Doesn't even matter whether you're talking about Lariat, XLT, XL. It's just far too much money for most people to afford. I think we've actually hit the tipping point where these manufacturers see that people's backs are broken. You can literally hear the cracking right before me. This is an absolute unfortunate time in history in the automotive industry, where the buyers are now fronting the cash, paying for these full-size ICE vehicles to fund the electric vehicle market. That's why all of these prices are rising in 2025, squeaking in these small increases. A lot of them are outside of the realm of cost of living increases. The inflationary rate's only 2-3%, and yet a lot of these prices are going up 7, 8, 10, 15%. How can you possibly justify it on an old existing model? Even a beautiful Mustang GT like this, a classic, good old-fashioned, down-to-earth sports car like that, here is going now for $72,000. Ford sales overall on F-150s are on the decline. We're also seeing, of course, unfortunately, the department that's actually selling vehicles, their EV department, is losing money on all of their units. Well, what about the commercial department? Well, we know their commercial and fleet vehicles are those vans, those big cube vehicles, as well as the full-size heavy-duty pickup trucks are the vehicles that people are using to do work. But we also read the writing on the wall. And while that's been the maximum profit margins coming out of the full-size commercial division, the worst part is, in the midst of this cost of living crisis, we're also seeing increased taxation, more competition, and the entire economy is hinging on a fine line of tipping over the other end. A lot of it is boiling down to politics, and the other part is basic economics, with people outsourcing to other countries. The challenge of becoming more productive as well as and competitive is much more difficult every single year, and that we're having to work harder for our dollars. And we're seeing the writing on the wall. Did you hear about last Monday, Black Friday? We actually have a situation where the stocks literally fell out the bottom of the barrel. But that's just a precursor. Have you ever heard of precursor? For example, a person that has a seizure has this aura before them. Well, I like to think that this is more of that aura, that sensation you get just before the big hit comes, because this is a sign of the times. The recession might in fact be in order, where we're not only going to see a few people here and there fall off the planet and unfortunately have to live under bridges, where we're actually going to see some of these bigger corporations unable to sustain themselves and fall through the cracks. And like we said, the only division that seems to be continuously making money for Ford are their commercial division, where you get the big white pickup trucks with the rubber floors, you get the vans, you get all of those trucks. You also get cube vans, they throw cranes on the back, full-size trucks, of course, with the plastic guards. That's a sign it's a very bare bones. You're going to see it's going to equip it with a service body. You get the vans, and those are the vehicles that are selling. When the economy falls through and the recession hits hard, unfortunately, I think we're on the tipping point or on the verge of that. A lot of the impacts are going to smack the commercial division extremely hard. There's another example of a vehicle that's going up for 2025, an MSRP. But if you didn't have the business that requires a lot of these service vehicles or service bodies and pickup trucks and fleet vehicles, then that pretty much flushes the company down. We know that right now they're doing well. That's the lion's share of their profits are sold with these vehicles right here. However, that feels like it could be on the edge because the imminent recession ties everybody together. It doesn't matter if you're Joe Blow working at a popsicle stand or if you're selling and installing construction materials or building buildings. They're going to hit everybody right where it hurts, in the pocket. But a big one that's hitting Ford right now is that John Lawler, the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, has literally said we're going to put money aside. We have to take care of these quality issues. And that's why many months back, Ford actually held back a whole pile of F-150s at the shipping yard because they weren't ready. There was quality challenges, quality concerns. And for a risk of reputational damage, they just held off and incurred the loss on delayed sales instead. But that's what's going on now. There's a huge amount of money that Ford's having to put aside, put in their pocket right there, so to speak, just to make sure that they take care of all of these recalls so that customers don't feel like they've been isolated. So with Cox Automotive anticipating strong headwinds in the back end of 2024, plus losses on every electric vehicle made, and quality control related issues are all those factors and headwinds that Ford's going to be fighting with for the next number of weeks and months. Now, is this unique for Ford? Not really, but even General Motors retracted on some of their output of their electric vehicles, realizing that it's a losing proposition. And while Ford's seeing an overall increase in their EV output, a big part of their success is only coming in part because of the Maverick hybrids. And those are the vehicles that are bringing people in the door for the Blue Oval. Otherwise, it's just the commercial sector that's really winning it for Ford. But it feels as though the writing's on the wall for electric vehicle output by these non-Tesla based manufacturers, and at least Ford is budgeting some cash and capital to take care of a lot of the quality issues, because I suspect they anticipate a significant landslide of issues to come down the chute. The real question is, with all these headwinds, is Ford doing enough or making enough business or becoming sustainable enough to stay in business? I'd love to hear your comments down there. Definitely check it out. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.